So I was saying that today we will go back to the negotiation strategy, and at this stage of the course, I mean, I believe that you are aware that the ability to negotiate is an important element of success for the every leader you need. I mean, the every manager, the every supervisor, project manager that you are going to be in the future, as you will deal with customers, as you will deal with suppliers, as you will deal with, I don't know, one another. Negotiation is often the key for resolving conflicts, for allocating rare resources. Remember, we talk about those rare resources that was the object of bargaining negotiation situation, and making tough decisions. And in today's workplace, where employee empowerment and team-based work are increasingly important, there are many more occasions in which informal negotiation are necessary in order to get things done. So until today, we have seen strategies, bargaining, distributive, and integrative negotiation situation. And we have seen tactics. We have analyzed situations. Now let's move to, let's say, a little more detailed things. And let's try to understand the different steps of the negotiation process. So yes, today we will see process, negotiation process, and I suggest to do this in 2 steps. Okay, so first we will try to understand the concept, well, some theories, some definitions, and maybe some examples, and then we will apply it in a kind of a real situation. I mean, an exercise where you will be expected to work on teams. Okay, teams or a team of 4, and to plan a negotiation process according to what we are going to learn today. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Perfect. So the objective of the course today, we will try, as I said, to explore the major elements of a process for selecting a negotiation strategy, the major steps of Amnei. Il faut actualiser. Yeah. Good afternoon, Miriam. Good afternoon. So I said today we will try to explore the major elements of a process for selecting a negotiation strategy and gain a comprehensive set of tools for effectively planning for an negotiation. Guys, tell me something. What is the common steps between the different process? I mean, we talk about the communication process, and I believe you saw the purchasing decision, le processus de décision d'achat, purchasing decision process. I mean, you saw it in the comportement du consommateur, customer behavior course. And I don't know, today we also will see the negotiation process. What is the common steps? The first common step between all those processes. Hello?
Yes, Miss, we hear you.
What is the common step between all those processes?
Is to make a plan, maybe.
Make a plan? Yeah, it's about a plan. A process is about a plan, but what is the common step between different kind of process? We saw communication process. We saw you saw purchasing decision process, and today we will see negotiation process. What is the common steps?
To achieve your goals, I think.
Sorry, Leila?
To achieve your goals.
Perfect, Leila. It's the goal.
Oh.
Yes. Thank you, Leila.
You're welcome.
Well, the common step is having a goal. Before starting a communication process, we should have a goal. Before starting let me say, this purchasing decision process, we should have a goal. And today also, when we're negotiating, we're starting a negotiating process, we should have a goal. So the common step is having a goal. Okay, so the first step, now I will read the slide. The first step is in developing and executing a negotiation process is to determine one's goals. Negotiator must anticipate what goals they want to achieve in a negotiation and focus on how to achieve those goals. Okay, so there is, let's say, and we saw there is many of goals, and we saw different situation. Remember the first session that project those nature of goals. We saw substantive goals, and substantive goals are about money, are about specific outcome. And we saw this in the example of the Chinese girl who was negotiating with this little boy about the blender. Remember, here the goal is substantive. Okay, l'objectif est tangible, d'accord? And then we have intangible goals like winning, beating the other party, and we saw it, remember, with the Kirkman American president negotiation scene with the Russians and the Ukrainian. The situation was about these objectifs intangible goals. And we have, for example, another nature of goals like procedural goals, like shaping the agenda or simply having a voice on the table. And this happened, for example, in a international diplomatic negotiation. And where, for example, a country who is not member in the UN and who is trying to have a voice on the General Assembly, things like that. Okay. So in this part, we have different questions we should answer. What are our goals? What are your objectives regarding the content or the personal level? What is the minimum that you want to achieve? Okay, what is your maximum target? Are your goals smart? Vos objectifs sont-ils smart? Et nous avons vu les objectifs smart, je pense, au cours de management, les objectifs specific, measurable, spécifique, mesurable, ambitious, realistic, déterminés dans le temps, time bound. Okay. So different questions we should answer for before setting our goal, which is the step zero, l'étape zero before starting the process. Okay. Well. I can't see the number of people present in the session.
I think we 25 plus 2, 27.
Perfect.
Something like that.
So there is some people are absent for technical problem, for example. No.
Yes, maybe. Also, like, it took me like 50 minutes to join the conversation, Miss, for internet issues, because all the Moroccans people now are connected.
Yeah, there is big issues, but luckily the session, you are 20, the session is recorded. So there is a positive things about this e-learning, that you can watch it. People who have like serious and real technical issues can watch the session after. But yeah, I understand. So planning process. Guys, what do we mean? What do we mean? What do we mean by process?
Hello, Madame. The plan that we follow in order to achieve the goal we set up, I think.
A number of what we earn?
It is the steps and the plan that we follow in order to achieve the goal that we set up.
Steps, yes. This is a key element of the definition steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam, hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So a process is defined as a number of steps, like we said, in order to achieve a specific objective within a specific frame of times. And all the steps should be coordinated in order to achieve the aim objectives. That's all. Thank you.
Perfect. Here is another key element of the definition you say, Busha. A goal. Well, steps and goal.
A process is all the thing that you put to achieve your goals. All the like not task, maybe not task. No, I don't. It's not. I don't remember the. It's this is it. This is the word. Because I see you doing this by you. Yes. So the task that like you join them all you join them all and to achieve the final goal that you wanted to.
Absolutely. Tasks, steps, goal. So those process is set of, this is a definition that you should retain.
It's a series of
A
actions.
set of, yeah?
It's also a series of actions.
A series of actions. Yes, Nora. A series of actions, of tasks, of steps interrelated that aim to produce a defined output. C'est des actions, c'est des tâches interreliées dont l'objectif est de produire un output, to produce an output. Okay, so for example, the loan, we have an example here on the slide. Yeah, the loan department in a bank, for example, follows a process for handling loan applicants. First, they gather, for example, the information about the customer, and then they study the I don't know, the field is filled, and then they take the decision, and then they call the customers to get the appropriate signatures. Donc, par exemple, pour le processus d'octroi d'un prêt au niveau de la banque, on collecte les informations, on étudie le dossier, on prend la décision, on appelle le client pour l'informer par rapport à la décision, to take his signature, pour prendre sa décision. So this is, for example, a process. Well, other companies, like for both services and manufacturing, pour les entreprises de services ou de production, they have sometimes they have similar process for some disciplines. They have similar process. For example, the marketing process. Generally, we have common steps. Like the first step, you study this, you are expert in marketing. La recherche d'information, first step, collecting information. Then we have targeting, segmentation, positioning. Then we have the mixed marketing. Then we should evaluate so we have common steps. Some companies, for some fields, for some disciplines, have common, let's say, common process. Okay. So planning process. Yeah, it's constitute, like there is many theories and many perceptions for a planning process, but today we will present this 10 steps of a planning process that start by defining the negotiation goal. This is kind of step number one, or let's say this is the step zero. C'est l'étape zéro. On peut la considérer comme je vais dire comme première étape, mais aussi étape zéro qui précède la conception du processus soi-même. D'accord? And then we have defining the major issues related to achieving the goal. And we will go back to every steps to explain it and give examples of what this step is about. And then we will assemble the issues and rank them according to their importance and priorities. Then we will define the interest, and then we should know, preparing this negotiation process, we will try to know our alternatives, our BATNA. BATNA is a common concept that you will find will studying, I don't know, negotiation or reading about negotiation. BATNA is best
It's
alternative.
a good thing that you choose to do the course before, because our presentation resume all this course.
Perfect. Perfect. So what is BATNA, Leila? Tell me.
Sorry, I did the microphone off. So BATNA is like, I think the ability to identify like a negotiator best alternative to a negotiated agreement. This is it. Like its name is best alternative to negotiated agreements, I think.
Absolutely.
And is among one of the many pieces of information a negotiator go for it when formulating like deal making and negotiation strategies, because it's
Absolutely.
really important to have a lot of alternatives, not go just with one idea or one negotiation strategy, but a lot, like 2 or 3
Absolutely.
alternatives. I hope that the definition is
well,
correct.
this is the definition, but we will go back to this step and to give more details about it. But thank you, Leila. This is a correct definition.
Thank you.
Thank you. So then we should know our limits, including our resistance point. I guess I believe that at this steps you know what is a resistance point, because it is common we saw it in integrative negotiation situation. We saw it also in bargaining negotiation situation, and it is a common step between all this globally for planning negotiation process. Well, the step number 7 is to analyze and understand the other party's goals, issue, and resistance points. And this is a step which is important for both sides. It is important to know our goals, our issues, and prioritize them, and to know our resistance points. But it is also important to know the other side resistance point, to know the other side goals, and to know the other side issues. Well, the step number 8 is to set in one's own targets and opening bids. Opening bids c'est un peu l'offre d'ouverture. C'est l'offre que vous présentez, that you present at the beginning of the negotiation situation. It could be a price. Remember the bargaining negotiation situation between the Chinese girl and the little boy. The opening bid was the $9 US dollar price for the blender. Remember, the Chinese tried to hide the price. So this is the opening bid. So the op is voilà, c'est l'offre d'ouverture, l'offre de départ. And then we should the ninth, let's say the 9th. Okay. The 9th step is assessing the social context of negotiation. Here again, we will talk about a context, because a negotiation process, every process happened in a context. Remember, well, the communication context is well, let's say more complicated, but here also we will have a context that we should consider when we'll organize in this negotiation situation. Well, step number 10 is planning the process and structuring the context by which information is presented. And we will go back to this step to explain it. Well, we will go back in detail for this step. So defining goals, or defining the goal of negotiation. So as I said, there is different nature of goals, and at this step we should ask many questions. What is our goals? What is the objectives regarding the continent? We talk about SMART objectives, we talk about specific, measurable, ambitieux, réalistique, et déterminé dans le temps. So our goal should be specific because wishes, for example, are not objectives. I wish to have this car. This is a global. C'est un peu flou, d'accord? Wishing to have this car is wishing to have a big car, wishing to have a beautiful car. This is a wish. This is not a goal. A goal is to plan to have a Toyota for 200,000 dirham, for example, or 15,000. 15,000 100 I don't know 100,000 dirham. This is a specific goal. I want a Toyota for this specific price and for this color, etc. And according to some technical information, a used car, a new car. This is the specific goal. But dreaming about a beautiful car, this is a wish. So your goal should be specific, should be measurable. Can we quantify? Est-ce qu'on peut le quantifier? Can we measure it? Est-ce qu'on peut le quantifier? C'est un prix de 100 000 dirhams. Il est mesurable. Ambitious. Oui. Les objectifs doivent être ambitieux, doivent également être réalistes. J'ai un budget spécifique. I have a specific budget. I only can afford 100, as I said, 100,000 dirhams. I cannot buy a car for I don't know, a Ferrari, for example, or a car for 300,000. My objective, my goal should be realistic and should be time bound. Il doit être déterminé dans le temps. I want to buy this car, this date, this. Well, nous devons spécifier le temps, nous devons spécifier l'agenda. Okay, so next step is to define the major issues related to achieving the goal. So this step itself usually begin with an analysis of what are the key issues to be discussed in the negotiation. Well, some negotiation may only consist of a single issue. For example, buying an item, for example, buying a coffee machine, buying a car. Well, this negotiation will consist on one specific issue. Well, other negotiations are more complex, especially professional negotiation. Well, the purchase of one company by another may include a large number of questions. Remember when we were talking about this communication process, we took the example of merger, la fusion par exemple. The merger negotiation situation is very complicated. Well, we will talk about, of course, we will talk about the price for this merger, le prix de cette fusion. But there is other complicated details, like, for example, workers who will be retained or workers who will be laid off, I mean, qui seront licenciés, the new headquarter of the company location, well, many complicated, la nouvelle structure, new structure, human resources structure of the new company. Well, in those situations, we cannot talk about just one issue, but many issues. Okay. So after listing all the issues related to the negotiation situation, we should rank them according to their importance and according to their priority. For example, in buying a house, both parties, as I just say, may begin by believing that price is the only issue, but may quickly realize that other issues are equally central. So how the purchase will be financed, date of sale, date of occupancy. So les situations de négociation sont enfin, dans la réalité, ils sont plus compliqués. On ne parle pas about one concern, d'un seul problème, mais de different concerns, different issues. So we'll plan in our negotiation. We should list all these issues and rank them according to their importance. This is step number 3. So step number 2 is to list the issues. Step number 3, Step number 2 is to list the issues. Step number 3 is to prioritize, to rank them according to their importance and according to their priority. So in this step, we should determine which issues are most important and which are less important. So once negotiation begins, party can easily be swept up in the flow information. Ils peuvent être emportés par la conversation durant une négociation. Arguments, offers, counteroffers, concessions. Well, for those who are not clear in advance about what issues are more or less critical, it is easy to lose perspective and agree inadequate settlements or to get distracted by long debates over points that are relatively unimportant. So if you don't do this list, you may be, as I said, swept up. You know, vous allez être emporté par les débats, the flow of information, la conversation, les arguments, les contre-arguments, les offres, etc. Et vous pouvez oublier d'autres issues, d'autres problèmes, d'autres questions auxquelles vous devez répondre au niveau de cette situation de négociation. So, in this third step, first we should determine which issues are most important to start with in the negotiation situation. Okay, so the second step is to determine whether the second point or the second question to what we should answer in this third question, this third step is to determine whether the issues are linked together or separated. Well, if the issues are separated, they can be easily added to subtracted. Here's where points can help. If connected, then settlement on one will be linked to the settlement on the other, and making concessions on one issue will inevitablement be tied to some other issue. So we should, well, after determining the priorities, of the issues, we should determine the links between them. We should la relation entre ces deux, ces problèmes ou ces questions auxquelles nous devons répondre. Je vais dire, quel problème ou est lié à l'autre. Par exemple, quand il est question d'acheter une grande quantité de marchandises depuis un pays asiatique, ben, la livraison is an issue is related to the issue of purchasing this raw material, for example. Well, the price is important, but the shipment is also important. So those, for example, those issues are linked. So, well, if I buy this raw material, shipment is une étape indispensable. Okay. So, step number 4, defining interest. So, remember, guys, we took this as example of this this pumpkin, you know, talking about integrative negotiation. I will take the same example and to say that when negotiating, we should try to know more about our interests. So if the position, if the position of the, if for example, we're negotiating about this pumpkin, if we stuck on our positions, nobody will win, because 3 of us, for example, we are 3 negotiating about this pumpkin. 3 of us want this pumpkin. 3 of us want la citrouille, 3 of us want it. But what if we open the flow of information, and this is a tactic that we've seen in the last sessions. What if we open the flow of information and know more about our interests, to know more about our interests? Yeah. We may discover that one of us will need needs this pumpkin to prepare a soup, for example. So this person need just the meat, but the other want to prepare need the peel to prepare a mask for Halloween, and the other needs just the grain, the seeds. So our interests are different according en relation with this pumpkins. Our interests are different, and just this one pumpkin can satisfy our different interests. So knowing the interest of the other part is very important to find agreement and to succeed in this negotiation situation. Well, interest, just like goal, can be substantive, okay, directly related to the focal issues under negotiation, can be intangible, okay, and can be let's say relationship based, tied to the current or desired future relationship between the parties. Process based, related to how the negotiation behave as a key negotiates. So finding about interest. Well, either will negotiating by opening this flow of information, and to start asking the other parts about her interest, or to try to make research, or preparing the negotiation situation that will happen in the future. Try to know more about the interest. Will help to succeed in a negotiation process, and is an important step in our planning process. Okay, step number 4. Leila, knowing our alternatives. So what will happen if the other, yeah. Leila just give us some explanations about alternatives. So what will happen if the other party refuses to accept some proposed items for the agenda, or states issues in such a way that they are unacceptable? What if the other party refuses your offer? What if you don't agree about you don't find a deal? So good preparation will plan in your negotiation process. You should have established 2 clear points, okay? First, you should establish a list of alternatives, and then you should know your limits, and we will see limits in step number 6. So first, you should list your alternatives. And alternatives are simply if this deal cannot be successfully completed. So the better the alternatives, the more power you have, because you can walk away from the current negotiation and still know that you will need that your needs and your interests can be met. For example, trying to buy this house, trying to buy this car, before negotiating, try to have a list of other alternatives, okay, that you can check. Will this negotiation ne réussit pas? Donc, so these alternatives make you stronger in this negotiation situation. Other providers of raw material, other companies, car companies, other agents, house buyer agent, for example. Try to find other colleagues that can work with you in a project, for example. Try to make a list of alternatives. Well, this list of alternatives may be votre point fort, can be can make you stronger in this negotiation situation. C'est cette liste d'alternatives qui pourra vous rendre fort, qui pourra vous apporter un avantage au niveau de cette négociation, situation de négociation, because first it will make you confident and va vous rendre confiant, parce que si ça marche pas, si cette négociation ne réussit pas, eh bien vous avez une liste d'alternatives. Okay, so the step number 6 is to Step number 6 is to know our limits and to know our resistant points. I believe we saw this in the when we were trying to understand the bargaining negotiation situation and its aggressive negotiation situation. So the resistant points, guys. What is the resistant points? We saw this. Tell me. Resistant points. Vas-y, oui. I
didn't hear.
Sorry?
I didn't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, yes.
Hello?
I hear you now.
Now you can hear me. What is a resistant point, Riam?
Resistant point, I think, is the maximum situation that you can handle as a business or whatever.
If you are a buyer, for example, or a seller, if you are a buyer, if you want to try to buy a car, what will be your resistant point?
Maybe the resistant point can be defined on term of the budget. It means the maximum budget that you can afford of certain
the
product.
price you cannot go under.
Yes.
Yeah?
In terms of the budget, it means it can be the maximum price you can afford.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a correct. This could be an option. Your resistant points can be your the maximum budget that you can afford. So
and it can be also in terms of quality or other things.
In terms of quality, yeah, this could be a limit also. This could be a limit. You have a standards of quality that you cannot under what you cannot negotiate. Okay, so your resistant points could be a price, could be a quality. Yeah, perfect. So if you are a buyer, for example, if you have that 200, let's say this 200,000 dirham budget to buy a car, well, you will not buy this car. You will not accept a price for 400,000 dirham. So your limit, your resistant point is this 200, c'est 200,000 dirham. This is the resistant point. Well, a resistant point of a seller could be the cost price. Le vendeur ne peut pas, par exemple, présenter un prix under the cost price, le coût de revient, par exemple. So, I mean, this information should be clear before starting, this negotiation situation in a professional or informal negotiation. And either your resistant points or your the other side resistant points.
I'm sorry,
So,
I have a question.
Yes, Miriam, go ahead.
Yes, it is important to specify the, like, for example, for a sale, it is important to specify the sum of the amount of money we cannot go under.
Absolutely. Well, Miriam, this is your resistant points. Well, planning this negotiation process, this information is, let's say, c'est une information critique. This is une information indispensable. You absolutely need to know this budget, this amount, under what you cannot buy this it should be clear on your head, and then you should also know the resistance points, the amount, for example, or the quality, or the quantity under what this seller cannot buy. I don't know, a product, for example.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Perfect. So step number 7, analyzing and understanding the other parties' goals, issue, and resistance points. And well, this gathering those informations about the other party is also a critical step in preparing for negotiation. But learning the other's issues, references, priorities, interests, alternatives is as important as yours. I mean, you should know your priorities while preparing a planning process. You should know the orders, your alternatives. You should know your interest. You should know your goal. You should know your resistance points. But you should, at the same level, know all this information about the other side of negotiation. It is as important as determining your own. So worksheet, your Canva should be composed from 2 columns. Yours will put in all your information concerning your, as I said, your interest, your goal, your alternatives, your issues, but you should also, in the other part, in the other side of the worksheet or the report, put the other person's information. We will see that in the exercise or the application. We will see it. So if negotiator have not had the opportunity to meet with people from the other side, you should try to find other sources of information, like asking about this person, learning about it. If it is a company, trying to Google it, to make research, to know information about the person who will be in front of you. Will this negotiation happen? So at the steps, we should answer many questions. So like, what do you know about your negotiation partner? Name, position, hobbies, for example, preferences, characters, culture. What do you know of the background of those you are dealing with? For example, a company, its size, revenu, par exemple, business development, history, objectives, market positions, customer structure, all the information, many information, important information that you should have before starting this negotiation situation. Well, what interests and need does your negotiating have? Are there common interests? How, in your opinion, will negotiators probably represent their arguments? What does he want to achieve or avoid? So many questions you should answer while preparing your process at this step. Okay, so step number 8 will be to sit in one's own target and opening bids. Vous devez avoir une offre d'ouverture en tête, l'offre que vous devez présenter, que vous allez présenter en début de situation en négociation. And we should set our own target. Well, after negotiators have defined the issue, assembled a tentative agenda, donc vous proposez un certain agenda, and consulted others as appropriate and necessary. The next step is to define 2 other key important, the specific target point. We talk about this, the target point where one realistically expects to achieve, and the opening bids representing the best deal one can hope to achieve. L'offre de départ, vous devez avoir en tête une offre que vous devez présenter au niveau de cette négociation de situation, et vous devez avoir en tête your target point.
Madam.
Go ahead.
So I was wondering, what is the difference between
a goal and a target point?
Sorry?
Go ahead, William, go ahead.
I was wondering, what is the difference between the first the first one goal that it should be measurable and specific, and that one target, because I didn't get it.
Well, c'est vrai qu'il y a une certaine confusion between the targets and the you know what, we will come back.
Maybe the difference is the first one we put it before doing priorities and measuring all our goals. Are they feasible or not?
You know what? I will propose something. We will go back to this step in the application, because there is a confusion between targets and goals, and we will apply in it. We will see. Nous allons vraiment relever la différence entre les deux, but we will apply in it. I guess si on reste sur l'explication théorique, on va pas vraiment, parce qu'effectivement, il y a une confusion entre les deux, mais je te propose qu'on fasse ça lors de l'application, en appliquant les differences sur le cas réel que nous allons traiter tout à l'heure. OK?
D'accord, madame. Merci.
Perfect. So, step number 9 is to, well, there's a mistake here. The certain targets and opening bits is related due to the slide before. So, assessing the social context of negotiation. As I said, the planning process happened in a context, okay? So, when people are negotiating for themselves, for example, buying a used bicycle or a used car, they can determine the negotiation mix of their own. So, this is an easy, basic negotiation situation where I'm trying to buy a car, I'm trying to buy a bag. So, I am the one who will determine the element of the negotiation situation. But when people negotiate in a professional context, for example, there may be more than two parties. I mean, more than two negotiators in the table. In a professional negotiation process, negotiation happen between many parties. Well, the second thing, negotiators generally have des superviseurs, have bosses, have superiors. I mean, il y a une hiérarchie derrière la personne qui négocie. Well, those superiors might make the final decisions, or other party, for example, who will evaluate and critique the solution achieves. Well, other parties like who, for example? Well, some negotiation happened for diplomatic, for example, diplomatic negotiation happened under the observation of journalists, of public opinion. Well, negotiation between two states, negotiation between institutions. Well, some in diplomatic, for example, level, in international economic agreements. Those situations happen, for example, under the pressure, under the observation of journalists, of public opinion. So those elements should be taken in consideration while preparing your planning process. Moreover, there may be observers, as I said, of the negotiation. Dans ce genre de situation, other issues arise, such as who conduct the negotiation, who can participate in the negotiation, who else is involved. So, while preparing your process, you arrive into this step number 9, and we're trying to consider the negotiation process. Especially when we are in front of a professional negotiation situation, especially when we are about, or for example, a diplomatic negotiation situation, a big, complicated negotiation situation. D'autres questions vont émerger au niveau de cette étape, et d'autres questions, il y a des questions plus compliquées auxquelles nous devons répondre. Like, for example, as I said, who will be involved in these negotiations with? Who are the other part of that qui influence, that impact this negotiation situation? Who will take the final decision making? So those questions should be answered also in this step number 9. Then we should present step number 10. We should presenting or planning, presenting the issues to the other party. like. So this last step is to think through the execution of your plan. There are two major components to consider. How will we present the issues? So in the negotiation situation, how will we present these issues and these interests, and how you should structure the process by which this information is presented. Well, presented and framing the first, we should present and frame the issue first. Frame, I mean cadrer le problème. On doit le présenter et le cadrer. Donc, consider how you will present your case to the other negotiator. In addition, you will need to consider how to provide ample supporting facts and arguments for your case, and to be able to anticipate and refute the other party's argument with avec les contre-arguments, for example. Et donc, vos problèmes, vos propositions, vos arguments, comment vous allez répondre les contre-arguments, all these things should be present in this step number 9 et cadré également. Le problème doit être cadré in this step number, this step number 10. Another point of this step number 10 is to plan the process and structure in the context by which information is presented. Well, a negotiator should consider a number of elements of du protocole du processus. What the agenda should we follow? L'agenda, le planning de cette réunion. What agenda should we follow? I need to have this agenda. How will we keep track of what is agreed? What is agreed? Well, generally, some agreements, des accords très importants, important agreements is taken there in this negotiation situation. How will we keep track of what is agreed to? Well, generally, people do not think about this critical, I mean, technical points. Well, sometimes we should record the negotiation situation, or we should have external, I don't know, external or people who will make reports of what we are saying. Okay, have we create a mechanism for modifying the deal if necessary? What happens if we, after the end of the negotiation situation, we discovered that we should modify something in the agreement? How can we do this? Well, we should answer those questions. We'll prepare a proposition in this step number 10 to propose that in the negotiation situation. Well, when this negotiation will happen, the agenda, according to what agenda, and how can we keep track of what is agreed on? Like, can we record, for example? Can we have external people who will make a report? Should we sign something? Okay, if after the negotiation situation we decide to modify something, how can we do this? Can we still have, can we have other meeting, for example? All these questions should be answered in this step number 10. So let's summarize. Yeah, so preparation in negotiation is the most essential ingredient. So through adequate preparation, you avoid being random. By being very specific, you will be successful and achieve better results. La préparation vous permet de ne pas être aléatoire, d'accord? De ne pas être aléatoire. En étant, quand vos objectifs sont spécifiques, sont clairs, sont réalistes, vous avez de fortes chances pour atteindre des résultats, to achieve positive and better results, d'être successful in this negotiation situation and achieve better results. 2. Le modèle SMART. The model of SMART goals supports negotiators effectively by formulating clear, realistic, and ambitious objectives. Make sure that your goals are always SMART. voilà, spécifique, mesurable, ambitieux, réaliste et déterminé dans le temps. On vient de le dire. Le modèle SMART qu'on a vu, que vous avez vu au cours de management, ces objectifs SMART, vos objectifs doivent répondre à ces critères-là. Formuler des objectifs très spécifiques, pas une liste d'objectifs, mais un seul. Mesurable, peut-on les quantifier? Est-ce qu'ils sont chiffrés? Est-ce qu'ils sont délimités, d'accord? Ils doivent bien sûr être ambitieux, des objectifs ambitieux, mais réalistes aussi. Mais réalistes, je n'aurai pas comme objectif d'acheter une Ferrari alors que je n'ai comme budget que 100 000 dirhams, par exemple, pour acheter cette voiture. Ils doivent être réalistes et délimités dans le temps. Je dois avoir des, je veux dire, je vais pas dire des deadlines, mais un agenda, un agenda de réalisation bien cadré. Je souhaite conclure l'achat de cette voiture fin, je ne sais pas, on est en fin mai par exemple. Je dois me mettre une date spécifique pour organiser this negotiation situation and to make the deal and to purchase this car. Alors, for each negotiation, I'm reading, for each negotiation, define 3 different targets: your best results, the nice to have, ideal goal, your realistic result, want to have, core target, and your stop line, must have, retreat, destination. So you should have those, let's say, avoir en tête ces different targets, different, let's say, results that you want to achieve. For example, well, there is an ideal result. Well, l'idéal serait d'acheter cette voiture à 50 000 dirhams, par exemple. Ça, c'est l'idéal. Mais it will be nice to have this car. It will nice to have this car for 50,000 dirham. This will be nice. Well, that will be the best result I can have if I succeed in negotiation. But the realistic result, yeah, the target is the realistic, is the result. The realistic result is to have, for example, this car for 100 or 100,000 dirham, 100,000 dirham. This is the realistic target, but this is an ideal and un résultat, let's say un résultat idéal, voilà. And a stop line, a must have. Je ne peux pas avoir cette voiture under this resistance point, under pour un prix supérieur à, je veux dire, 105 000 dirhams. D'accord? There is a stop line, and I cannot go further, and I cannot negotiate. So there is an idéal résultat, et puis il y a ce résultat réaliste, d'accord? Et puis il y a ce résultat que je ne peux pas, and as I said, I cannot negotiate. So, cannot see this. Let's see. I cannot read. Negotiation effectively appropriate problem and include the negotiation partners, problem solving. Yeah. So let's say that. So in negotiation, always disconnect the person from the matter in hand, negotiate effectively and appropriately by formulating the problem, and include the negotiation partners in the problem solving within them criticizing their personality. And we saw that we'll learning things about integrative and bargaining situation. We said that to succeed in a negotiation situation, we should separate our feeling from the person. Donc nous devons faire cette séparation entre la personne et la négociation negotiation situation. And we saw those Harvard principles. Remember, guys, we saw that either you like the person or you don't like it, you should put your feeling, vous devez mettre vos sentiments à part, because if you like it, vous allez avoir tendance à accepter n'importe quelle proposition qu'elle propose, and if you don't like it, you will refuse any deal or any offer that she or he will propose. So put your feeling aside, separate your feeling from the person. So gather as much information as early as possible about your negotiating partner, the company, and the decision maker involved. So while preparing your negotiation, you should gather the maximum of information about the other side of negotiation, the company or the organizations that this person presents, and who will make the decision, the boss, I don't know, the organization behind them, the assembly. Well, who make decision? And you should have information about who make decision. You should have information about the institution, the organization, the company that this person presents, and you should have information about the partner. Maximum information that you can have, even personal information, even cultural information. You will see that. Okay, so designate people who are influenced by the negotiated settlement agreement as interested group, stakeholders. These are people for whom the negotiated result is of great importance, because they can have an impact on the negotiation by confirming, blocking, or preventing them. This analysis is like analyzing interests. Okay, so we'll negotiate and our negotiation is oriented positions. We have de fortes chances pour ne pas réussir cette négociation, cette situation de négociation. Là encore, nous pouvons avoir un négociateur devant nous, mais l'impact de cette négociation, cela peut impacter d'autres personnes. Et on peut voir ça dans les négociations négociations diplomatiques, économiques, internationales, où deux parties sont en train de négocier, mais l'impact de cette décision, l'impact de cette négociation, la négociation, les résultats de cette négociation, les décisions de cette négociation va impacter peut-être, je ne sais pas, un secteur industriel donné, d'un pays donné, des populations données, etc. Donc, vous devez savoir que les décisions de cette négociation impacteront qui seront impactés par cette situation de négociation. Cette information est très importante. Ou là, sinon, qui pourra bloquer, par exemple, confirming, blocking, or preventing? Guys, remember this negotiation situation about where terrorists kidnapped, I don't know, a citizen, I don't know. Remember the negotiation situation where someone was talking with the terrorist and the FBI was surrounding him. Okay, but the person who was negotiating, the person who were negotiating was just like representing a big institution, which is the FBI. The FBI decides. Also in the guys, you watch the La Casa de Papel, right? And l'inspecteur qui négociait avec le professeur. Well, there is a big institution behind her. Elle est juste l'interlocuteur du professeur. Elle est juste l'interlocuteur. Il y a toute une institution derrière elle, toute une institution sécuritaire derrière elle. Et généralement, les négociateurs, c'est juste quelqu'un qui sait communiquer, qui sait parler, qui sait influencer, qui sait proposer des arguments. Mais ça ne veut pas dire que c'est lui qui prend la décision. Il est juste en train de négocier les choix ou les décisions qu'on lui a présentées. Donc, vous pouvez aller au-delà de cette situation et connaître qui prend les décisions et who have an impact on the negotiation decision. Well, ça, c'est un niveau un peu très... je veux dire, très développé de la négociation. Well, in complex negotiation, emphasize systematic and structured stakeholders management to identify all possible solutions and anticipate risks and therefore to negotiate successfully. Well, voilà, vous devez to emphasize systematic instructor stakeholder management to identify all possible solutions. Vous devez anticiper et préparer une liste de solutions alternatives. Pour les alternatives, on a les choix alternatifs, mais on a également les solutions alternatives, les risques. Et ça fait partie des contre-arguments qu'on présente. Alors, les contre-arguments, c'est un mot très, très vague, mais ça veut dire quoi? It's a global concept. But what does it mean technically? It means solution. It means other solutions, other offers, other alternatives. What do we mean by contre-argument? D'accord? Okay, so let's move to notre exercice, d'accord? Leïla, vous avez combien de temps pour la présentation?
Ça va être bref et concis, rien de... Genre, c'est pas une dizaine de minutes, quinzaine, grand max.
Très bien. Donc, très bien. Donc, je vais vous envoyer... Alors, on va passer à une application. D'accord? On va essayer d'appliquer ce qu'on a vu, ce processus sur un cas, sur une kind of real situation. Je vous envoie l'énoncé, mais je l'ai mis sur le document. Je vais essayer de le mettre ici. Alors... Exercice negotiation planning.